Trevor Williams with Global Atlanta, and we're here with Eric Stewart, the president of the newly established U.S.-Poland Business Council. Thanks for being with us, Eric.
Thank you, Trevor.
Tell us a little bit about the establishment of the council and the motives behind that.
Absolutely. We started a council earlier this year in the summertime with 20 multinational companies, all based in the U.S., all American companies. And we launched the council last month by leading our foundational business mission to Warsaw. And we were received by the Deputy Prime Minister of Poland, Deputy Prime Minister Pawlak, as well as the Foreign Minister Sikorski. And we had a very successful mission that was what we anticipate was probably the most opportune time to create a council. Mm-hmm. And the reason I say that is because there are so many positive things happening in Poland right now. Poland was the only country in the European Union to grow last year, have positive GDP growth. They're projected to have additional positive GDP growth this year and next year. You also have the presidency of the European Union. The Poles will be leading Europe next year, which is a very positive thing. Mm-hmm. But what you also find, and what American companies find in Poland, is very similar counterparts. Mm. And what I mean by that is you find businesses who have the entrepreneurial spirit that American companies do as well. Tremendous workforce, highly educated, and as some colleagues have said in the past, a lot of companies are using this as a gateway to Europe, right. Which is an interesting dynamic when you think about actually leaving America, flying all the way over Europe, landing in Poland, and then going back this direction. But that says to you how significant it must be to be able to do business in Poland, that companies would think that direction, which is pretty amazing. So things are very, very positive, and we're also seeing some really specific opportunities. Shale gas is one of the specific opportunities. The U.S. has a tremendous amount of experience in the shale gas industry, and Poland has recently discovered that they potentially have huge resources of shale gas. And considering the challenges that Europe has had with energy resources, this is potentially a very, very big find. But you're also seeing opportunities in high tech, in nuclear power, in manufacturing. There's a lot of high demand for and the great thing is that what we found is the Polish workers are extremely hardworking, and extremely intelligent workers, and so it really is a great place to do business.
So with that said, part of your mission as an organization is to provide a venue for these multinational companies to redress their, I won't say grievances, but their problems that they're having in accessing the Polish market and doing business there. I was wondering if you could talk about some of those concerns.
Sure, absolutely. You know, as a former senior official with the U.S. government, as I've always said, every country has issues. Every marriage has issues. You wouldn't have a real relationship if you didn't have issues and problems. So yes, we do. There are issues in the U.S.-Poland relationship. And when you also consider the context that Poland has really been an independent country for only 20 years, they're young. They're a very, very young country. And so there are still a lot of challenges because of that. And you know, the red tape and the bureaucracy and the paperwork sometimes can be more challenging than American companies are used to. And sometimes being able to have direct and sometimes open dialogues with government officials, at times it's difficult. We have a culture in the U.S. where we continually criticize our politicians, and businesses continually question decisions that are made. But that, given the history of the region, that has not been a culture of the region. But that's evolving. That's changing a lot, and you see it in a lot of the Polish government officials who are challenging themselves and questioning their business policies and business procedures. So there are still issues. There always will be issues. That'll never be resolved. But what we hope to see is an evolution of the type of issues and the types of discussions discussions that take place, and they hopefully will move more away from some of the mundane type of difficulties and move more into some of the challenges that we face in the U.S.
Do these impediments preclude some of the smaller companies wanting to invest in Poland or from the U.S., or exporters even from accessing the market?
I don't think so. To be honest, I mean, I think probably the biggest challenge for small businesses is, you know, sometimes small business, you know, exporting to them is selling a product from Georgia to Tennessee. You know, so distance is an issue. You know, having the capacity and the ability to take the time to understand all the different tariffs and regulations and those types of things that may be a part of their industry are probably more of the challenges. But there are a lot of resources that we want to promote to those types of companies, the U.S. government as well as the Polish government, in helping to guide those small businesses. But I don't think that's necessarily the bigger impediments. And one of the challenges also that you run into with any small business is, where do you begin? And you know, Polish companies looking to do, you know, business in the U.S., you know, ask the same question. You know, U.S. is huge. Where do I start? And now that Poland is a part of the European Union of 27 countries, a Georgian small business may look at Europe and say, where do I start? So, you know, those are probably more the bigger challenges that the companies run into, more so than some of the I think the issues that are sort of systematic right now in Poland.
Great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time.
My pleasure.